Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This morning, my name is Val Majewski, Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at American Benefits Exchange, and today we are talking about getting your bags packed for Athens, Greece in 2020. Now, for those of you that do not know, American Amicable is one of our top carrier relationships that we have through American Benefits Exchange, and as a result of that, we write a lot of business with them and are fortunate to have a lot of our agents qualify on an annual basis for their convention. This past year, we just got back from Monaco, Monte Carlo, and it was a phenomenal trip. They put on one heck of a show, and we really enjoy their hospitality. We enjoy the fact that they try to make these trips bigger and bigger every year. They had a record attendance as far as convention attendees and their guests. They had a record-setting year last year when it comes to their overall production, writing over 81 million with goals set as high as 90 and 100 million over the next couple of years. So it's been an awesome deal working with American Amicable, a very progressive company, and they're working on making the experience for their agents and their conventions better and better. So as the title of this says, pack your bags for Athens in 2020. I want to show you how you can get there, how you can be a part of this trip, and how you can make sure that you punch your ticket to go to Athens in 2020. So we're going to go over the next few minutes, the qualifications, the production requirements, and then some fun facts about Athens, Greece, and then my contact information because I want to hear from you. I want to hear why you want to go on this trip. What's your motivation if you're motivated by incentives like this, and how we can get you there. What you need from either myself or any of us here in the home office to get you there. And that's our goal. Our goal is to get as many representatives of American Benefits Exchange recognized, as top producers recognized, as hitting the qualifications necessary to make these types of conventions. It looks good, not just for us, but it looks great for you. Hey, if you make these trips, obviously you're writing a whole lot of business. You're doing something great. Might as well reward yourself and your guest on a basically expenses paid trip halfway across the world to one of the most historical cities in the world, and that being Athens, Greece, which we'll talk about. So without further ado, let's talk about the trip. Where are we going? What are we doing? What are we trying to qualify for? Well, next June, June 17th through the 22nd, again, American Amicable will send you and a guest if you qualify to Athens, Greece. Stay at the Devani Caravel Hotel. The qualification period, it's a calendar year, January 1st to December 31st. What do you need to do to qualify? Well, the minimum qualification for a producer, individual producer, is $85,000 in paid production. Paid production, not just submitted, it needs to be paid, issued paid business. If you are an IMO or MGA, if you run an agency, the minimum paid production amount is $750,000. Either way you can qualify. If you run a group, if you're an individual, hey, maybe you're an individual that runs a group. You can qualify both ways. They also have what's called their top 40 or Club 40. It's the top 25 individual agents and top 15 IMOs. American Benefits Exchange has been in the top 15 basically since we've started working with American Amicable. That's thanks to you guys and your hard work out there. But this year we had a Club 40 qualifier. We actually had the number 3 agent in the company this year for American Amicable. It's great. Very proud of that individual and the hard work that they did over the course of the year in 2018, and on track for another great year this year in 2019. But would love to get a couple folks in the top 25. Would love to get a lot more on this trip. Again, not just because it's a great place to go and we want to be a part of this with you, but if you qualify for the trip again, it means you've written a lot of business. You've helped a lot of individuals out there. You yourself have earned an income based upon that business that you're writing, and why not reward yourself by booking your ticket and punching your card to Athens, Greece. So again, the trip is going to be in the middle of June of next year, and the qualification period, which we'll go over here in a second, in a little more detail, 85,000 for an individual producer and 750,000 of paid business if you're an agency, IMO, or MGA. So looking a little deeper now, you can find that flyer I just put up there. That's on the American Amicable website. On the left-hand side, when you first log in to the agent portal, it'll show the 2020 convention, and the qualification flyer is listed there. But just to go deeper again into the qualifications, if I didn't make myself clear, 85,000 paid as an individual, 750,000 paid as an IMO or MGA. Now, this is a big thing too, is invitees must meet placement and persistency requirements and be in good standing with the company, American Amicable, duly licensed and appointed with American Amicable, and producing and submitting a normal amount of business at the time of convention in order to receive an invitation. What does that mean? You have to write good business, and you have to write on a consistent basis so they know, look, they're not going to pay for your $7,000 to $9,000 vacation. If you just wrote a little business, made the I shouldn't say a little, but wrote a lot of business, and you're no longer working with their company. So that's why just the partnership with American Amicable has been so great. Our agents have, you included, I said our agents as a whole, and you as an individual listening to this webinar, have been a huge part of that. And just why wouldn't you want to continue to write with a company that offers these products to you and is offering these kind of incentives or opportunities to qualify for conventions. So you just have to meet their fine print, which means writing good business and writing consistent business, not just in 2019, but also as we go into 2020, because the invitations will be sent out around February, March of next year. So let's do a little thing, a little fun facts about Greece, Athens, Greece specifically. What is it that we're trying to go on? So I just said we came back from Monte Carlo recently. Unreal trip, once in a lifetime destination. That's kind of where the who's who, the richer of the richer play. And while you're there, it wasn't uncommon. If I saw one Ferrari, I saw probably 150 of them. Rolls Royce, Bentley, you name it. Pretty cool fun fact for our trip out there in Monte Carlo was parked outside our hotel. If you're looking out towards the bay, the Mediterranean Sea, there was a boat, you can look it up, called Sailing Yacht A. Not very creative on the name, but it is the largest sailboat in the world, owned by a Russian billionaire. The guy's worth about $14 billion. And it was parked just outside of our hotel room basically the entire time. I say parked just outside. It was probably more than a mile offshore, but it was humongous. It was awesome to look at, and those are the kind of things that we saw. And anybody who was on the trip, if you know somebody that made the trip, that qualified and spent some time out there, they'll probably tell you the same. The trip was unbelievable. They do a great job. And American Amicable, the reason why I'm saying this about Monte Carlo, is looking to outdo themselves by going to such an amazing and historic location like Athens, Greece. So let's look at some fun facts here and see if any of this is familiar to you. If not, hopefully pique your interest a little bit and share something you may or may not have known about Athens. It's Europe's oldest capital. It's one of the oldest cities in the world, actually. They say records show that the city goes back to 3000 BC, and again, one of the most historic, if not the oldest, or one of the oldest cities in the world, going back to ancient Greece. The first Olympic Games, now some people get confused, were not played in Athens. They were in 776 BC in Olympia, hence the name Olympic Games. But the first modern games were actually held in Athens in 1896. And if you recall, more recently in 2004, they were held in Athens again. According to Greek mythology, the olive tree was given to Athens by the goddess Athena, and as a result, if you're thinking about just what does the olive tree have to do with Greece, Greece is in the top 3 in the world in olive producers, and they produce a ton of olives, and you can not just olives themselves, but then olive oil, things of that nature. So a cool little fun fact there. You can see in the middle of the city, if you ever look at a map, there's obviously the Acropolis, which we'll talk about here in a second, but the tallest hill or mountain in Athens is called, and I'm going to butcher the name, Lycabettus Hill, which sits in the middle of the city, just kind of a mountain bulging out of the middle of the city, and it stands at over 900 feet tall. You can actually hike up to the top of this, and I'm sure a lot of people that are going to make this trip are going to give it a shot. I know I sure will if I'm fortunate enough to go on the trip. But on top of that hill, on top of that mountain, sits St. George Chapel, which is really cool. So you can check out some of the history there, as well as and do a heck of a hike trying to get up to the top of this uh, hill that sits at 900 feet tall, over 900 feet tall. The historical landmarks, again, the history, that's what I want to finish with here is unbelievable. Not only the Acropolis, which is the rocky kind of plateau that sits above the city of Athens, and you can see the remains of another historical landmark, the Parthenon, that's up there, but that's the most famous one. But the flat kind of plateau rock rises about 490 feet above sea level in the city. And again, just a heck of a place just to see history, living history, things that are still up. This is not mythological. These are some of the most significant structures and most impressive structures from an archaeological standpoint and even from an architectural standpoint. But the Parthenon, former temple, is located on the Acropolis. It was built between 447 and 438 BC. They said decoration continued till 432, but it was dedicated to the goddess Athena, and it's considered just a key landmark of Western civilization. And from the views from the hotel that American Eagle is going to be hosting this trip at, you can see the Parthenon from the hotel. And you can see in this picture here to the right, the very small rendition of it, but you can see the Parthenon lit up at night, as well as the entire Acropolis lit up at night, which is pretty awesome. The Acropolis Museum, but then there's also a landmark in and around Athens, the Temple of Olympian Zeus, also known as the Olympion or columns or the Olympian Zeus. It's a former colossal temple at the center of Athens, and it was dedicated to Zeus. And the construction was in the 6th century BC, during the rule of the Athenian tyrants. And it just unreal again, just to see that the architecture that they were able to, and the feats from an engineering standpoint that they were able to accomplish. These are things that excite me. Just wondering, and you see shows on TV like Modern Marvels and how they did all these other things. How did they do this in the 6th century BC to erect structures like this? And the fact that they're still standing today, some 2,600 years later is super impressive. So if I give you a little bit about Greece here and just things that we're going to be able to see and do, should we be fortunate enough to get invited on the trip, really a reason why I'd love you to make it. And not just from a reward standpoint, but again, if you hit the $85,000 paid level, you're going to be making yourself a good amount of money, supporting your family, helping out a ton of people along the way with the various products that American Amicable has to offer. Well, look, I tried to keep this short and not necessarily entice you to earn the trip, work a little bit to make sure that you and a guest are going to enjoy Athens, Greece, but just to say, look, these are the things that our partner American Amicable puts out there for us and rewards their agents with, and just says, congratulations, thank you for your hard work. We want to take you halfway around the world, pamper you a little bit, and show you a great time. It was well worth it the last couple years, especially this year, going to that once-in-a-lifetime destination, Monte Carlo, Athens, Greece, another one of those, and really looking forward throughout the rest of this year to helping you and your agents, if you run an agency, make it. So bottom line, here's my contact information. It said Val Majewski, I'm VP of Sales and Marketing, if you did not know that already, but I want to help you. We've got about 6 months left to get that paid production in. Doesn't matter what market you work in or what product you primarily want to offer. There's a lot that American Amicable can do for you, your clients, help people out when it comes to their insurances, supplemental retirement, final expenses, etc. We just want to make sure we help you get there. Now, if that's through getting in front of more people, lead generation, your different concepts, learning more about the products and where they fit, running illustrations, sales support, helping business get issued, that's what we're here for. So utilize us as much as you need, as much as you require, and we'll make sure we get you to that level of 85,000 in paid production if that's a goal that you want to hit. Hold me to it, because that's, again, that's what I'm here for. That's what we as a team here in the home office of American Benefits Exchange are here for. Well, I thank you for taking the time, and I hope that you will pack your bags for Athens in 2020. Again, we'll help you get there. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you again real soon.